And President Trump has signed a new executive order creating federal task forces to investigate anti-competitive behavior throughout the U.S. food supply chain. The order warns that foreign-controlled corporations pose widening risks to food affordability as well as national security. It notes that some companies have already settled price-fixing lawsuits worth tens of millions of dollars. Attorney General Pam Bondi and Federal Trade Commission Chairman Andrew Ferguson have been directed to launch task forces inside their agencies to identify potential collusion or foreign influence. They're now authorized to bring enforcement actions or propose new regulations if they find evidence of anti-competitive conduct. They must also brief congressional leaders twice within the next year on any findings or recommended legislative steps. And President Trump is set to kick off a tour in Pennsylvania tomorrow, focusing on making prices more affordable. Meanwhile, a White House official says Trump will unveil a $12 billion aid package for farmers. The announcement is expected at 2 p.m. roundtable today. U.S. farmers are under pressure this year as China shifted to South American suppliers for soybean purchases amid stalled trade negotiations with the U.S. The Trump administration was expected to announce a farm package totaling as much as $15 billion in October. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins previously said that the 43-day federal government shutdown delayed that rollout. Here's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent discussing the U.S. economy.
We are now seeing this affordability problem, and I think next year we're going to move on to prosperity.
The Trump administration appears to be changing its approach to concerns about affordability. The Treasury Secretary argues the economy is strong, but he's acknowledging the issue.
What we're not going to do is say that Americans don't know what they're feeling.
President Donald Trump is creating a task force to look at food prices. New analysis of Salesforce data shows shoppers paid more for less this Thanksgiving weekend. According to polls, many Americans are worried about stretching their budgets. Now some Republicans are urging action on the issue.
If you're living paycheck to paycheck, which most Americans are, and you can't afford to make ends meet, nothing else matters other than that.
And the Senate is expected to vote as soon as this week on whether to extend expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies. Meanwhile, Senator Bill Cassidy from Louisiana says he's preparing to send GOP leaders a health care proposal aimed at lowering premiums and directing the money to patients. In an interview with Fox News, he said his plan could reach the 60 Senate votes needed to pass.
I think the White House and Republicans are very much in favor of Americans having affordable health insurance. They want Americans to have access. And the president's given pretty clear guidelines. He wants money to go to patients and not to insurance companies.
Cassidy says he wants Americans on Obamacare to shift into lower premium plans supported by expanded health savings accounts. He says subsidies set to expire in January could be restructured so that all the funding flows directly to the patients instead of to insurers. Cassidy says he's been in discussions with Democrats and believes both parties can agree on giving consumers more choice.